Hi guys, today it's all about the rise of the feminine. So if you want to find out more about the divine feminine rising and what you can do to activate your divine feminine, stay tuned. Hi guys, how you doing? When I'm looking at my hair in the mirror, it looks crazy. It's not cut off, by the way, it's just tied back, but it kind of looks like I've got like a weird bob. What do you reckon? Do you like it? I think it kind of makes my face look harsh, but anyway, let's get to the video. Today we are talking about Rise Sister Rise. If you want to activate your divine feminine, if you want to get that priestess energy through, if you really resonate with the high priestess and you feel that kind of that shifting in you and you feel called to investigate the divine feminine, here you go. This is it. Okay, so my story with this book. Okay, I love Light is the New Black, which is Rebecca Campbell's first book. I absolutely adore it. It's all about her awakening experience. It's all about her realizing she's a light worker. Excuse me. That is the book that I absolutely adore by her. I've got to be honest and say I didn't resonate as much with this book as the other one. However, I think it's wildly important. I think it's the best book on the divine feminine. Personally, the best book on the divine feminine that I have read. And I identified with it the most. So I can highly recommend it. But I would also say that if you haven't read the Light is the New Black, please read that also. So this book is all about going from that sort of old patriarchal male-led world towards the rising feminine, where it's not that we are going to have the women taking over the world, but that where there is a balance, where the feminine is allowed to play her part and the masculine play his part. And so it's a balancing, it's where the women rise and where there is a balancing of the feminine and the masculine, so we have that sense of equilibrium in the world. Okay, so this is all about that. It's about women feeling called. So if you do feel called, if you've looked up on YouTube or wherever, or if you are following my channel so you're kind of interested in awakening topics, you will notice that you've maybe felt this call to rise, and that's what this is all about. So what does this book actually ask you to do? What it does is it's very reassuring, because any women out there who are rising, who are awakening, you will feel these major energy shifts. You will feel like there's something rising in you. You suddenly feel very much that you want to speak your truth. You suddenly feel like you're having kind of mystical experiences as well, which can be a bit unnerving if you're not used to it. And Rebecca Campbell talks about hers, and she is a beautiful writer. She's very, I love her sort of Anglo-Australian vibe. She's very grounded, she's very down to earth in one sense, but then in another sense she's extremely sort of high priestessy and has a very sort of high kind of etheric sort of vibe as well. So I love that combination. So if you've started feeling like, wow, you know, like, am I crazy? I've been having like these kind of like weird sensations to kind of speak up, rise up, tell your truth, start being creative or whatever, this book will support you in that. And I wouldn't worry if you are very sort of very highly spiritual and very tuned into all of that, and you already have a very spiritual type life, this will resonate with you. But what I love about it is if you are not that type of person, but you're starting to feel these shifts in you, this book will resonate with you, because Rebecca Campbell in one way is very high priestessy, but she's very grounded, and her explanations and her storytelling is very accessible. This book is also very much about sisterhood. It's about coming together. It's about rising up as a collective. It's beautiful in that it speaks of how you can create that sort of tribe, how you can bring those people together. It's about supporting other women as well, and that we work together as a team rather than being very sort of egocentric about it. So I love the sisterhood aspect of it as well. So there's lots of aspects, again, like I've said in another video, or I say in quite a lot of videos on book reviews, it's a Hay House book, and it's got that very Hay Housey vibe. So it's a story about her experiences, her lives, interspersed with actionable thoughts. What I mean by actionable thoughts is she will sort of suggest you maybe think about this, you know, you can do that. So they're kind of like exercises, but in this book it's not like a how-to, but it kind of like is gives you bits of inspiration which you can then step away from the book and go into your own practice or think about in your own time, etc. Okay, so it's great in that it's got that balance. So this book has got all sorts of things in. It's very, like I say, it's very high priestessy. So she talks about chanting, she talks about witches, she talks about various sort of very kind of mystical practices as well. It's nothing like freaky and weird, it's nothing like that at all. Don't be like, if you're not a major spiritual person, you think, oh god, that's a bit weird. It's not. It's nothing nothing odd in that way. It's only odd in a helpful way, if you know what I mean. It's not odd anyway. But yeah, so there's a lot of sort of mystical exercises and things. So it does come at it from, it's very high priestessy, and I think that might be why I don't resonate with it as much as maybe some people do and will, because I feel very much, for me, coming at it from a sort of tarot-y aspect, I feel that the Divine Feminine has the two aspects for me of like the Empressy type energy and the High Priestessy type energy, and I very much identify with the Empressy type energy. It's a little bit more earthy, a little bit more grounded. I don't want to offend or invoke lots of reaction to that, because it's just my opinion, but I feel a bit more identified with that side of it rather than the High Priestessy side of it. So whilst I love rituals, that was the word I was looking for before, so there's lots of like mystical ritual type things that you can do, whilst I do some of those things and I think they're great, they're not always things that really megally call out to me, you know. So yeah, but they may well do to you, but nevertheless it's fantastic. What I love about this book is the way it's set out. So it's all kind of like chunked down. You've got like this here, which is it's just cleverly laid out. You've got little quotes on one page, and you know, so it's not like block of text, which there's nothing wrong with, but it does make it, you know, much more palatable, much easier read. And the way she's laid it out on the page, like for example here where it goes up, and so what she's writing about, it's reflected in the way it's put on the page. I certainly think that you can tell she's a very she was a marketing specialist, I think, and she's definitely worked a lot in the creative fields in business, and you can see that and feel that in the vibe of her book. So it's very, very accessible. Here's another example of how the page is laid out in a specific way. So it kind of just breaks it up and just makes it really super easy to feel. Here's another one, and the chapters, there's lots and lots of chapters. Rather than it being sort of standard, there's a part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, 5, 6, yeah, 6 parts. So part 1 is my story, part 2 is birthing a new age, part 3 is remembering our cyclic nature, part 4 is unbinding the wise wild woman, part 5 is redefining sisterhood, part 6 is doing the work. Yeah, that's it. I thought there was a 7th. I just said there were 6 parts. Yeah, so it's just like the most in-depth book I've ever found on really not only outlining what really do we mean by the divine feminine rising, but also how do I do that in myself. Now, when I've done readings for people, intuitive readings on all sorts of topics, I feel that the advice I'm getting from the guides about how females need to access their power and step into their light and energy is very, very well reflected in this book. I regularly recommend this to people who are looking to rise and to bring that energy forwards. So guys, even if you are a guy, you can definitely get something from this, but it's definitely got a very, very, very strong divine feminine aspect. So super important for men and women alike, but I definitely think if you are a woman looking to awaken your divine feminine, this is the book for you. And I love this, where it's coloured around the edge. It's really gorgeous. Oh, it's only on the side. I thought it was on the bottom as well. There you go. Guys, have an amazing week. I'll see you next week.